Hey, navigators. My name is Brooke Plack, and I'm your host here today on the Navigating Personal Growth Show. And let's talk about when you're faced with 5 different paths in business or possibly in life, and literally all of them feel like they could work. You're smart, you're capable, you're educated, you know what you're doing. Every option looks profitable, but which one do you choose instead of panicking? Which one brings you joy? Which one brings you peace? And which one leads to burnout? That is what we're diving into today. And so every time I have expanded a business, okay, whether I'm deciding to add a second location, whether I'm deciding to, expand my team, whether I'm deciding to add one more department, every single time I've done that, there comes this moment of oh, am I doing it right? Is this the right decision? Am I, should I, could I, would I? And every single time when I follow my gut and my intuition and I slow down enough to know what that feeling feels like, I am very happy with the decision, right? There's so much more alignment, so much more peace, and just so much more joy that comes with that. But every single time I've made that decision, and I have made it because I thought I should, because somebody said, thought, would, could, might, would have, there are consequences. Every single time there are consequences. And every time I'm still faced with that, what if I pick the wrong path, right? And I remember standing there with 2 really great opportunities in a business. Should I sell it or should I expand it? Both make sense on paper. Both could be profitable, but one felt heavier than the other one, right? And the other one felt more exciting. It felt more like, yeah, that's kind of the path where I'm headed instead of the path where I've been. And learning to trust yourself, me learning to trust myself, has made all the difference in the world. And here's the thing. Every time I've ignored that intuition, just like I said, and every time I've chosen the path that looked smart on paper or what I should be doing, I ended up with that overwhelm, that frustration, and that questioning everything. But when you listen, when you slow down, and when you tune into what's going on inside of you, that is when you will choose the path that brings you the most joy and helps to eliminate that feeling of overwhelm and frustration. Because the real struggle isn't that there's too many choices. The real struggle is that you are afraid of making the wrong choice, right? And you're scared that what if I make the wrong choice and then? You're scared you'll waste time. You're scared you'll regret it. You don't trust yourself because every option might look good. It might look profitable. And you're waiting for someone else to give you permission to make that decision. But the truth is, there might just not be a wrong path. But there is one that is aligned. There is an aligned path. And not choosing is the only thing keeping you stuck. So if you're here, you're loving what you're hearing, and you want me to continue to make more content like this, be sure you hit the like or subscribe button and let us know in the comments or leave a review, because that is how we continue to know that these are the things that you want to hear. And also, on the second episode I've ever talked about this on, I'm now offering one-on-one coaching. So you can sign up with a free one-on-one coaching call down in the comments so that we can continue to walk this journey together. So how do you decide if you go from being stuck and not sure the path to choose to finding that alignment and figuring out where it's going to bring you the most joy? First of all, you have to listen to your intuition. Your first hit, dopamine hit, stress hit, chemical hit in your brain, that's data. Your body is giving you data. Your body responds before your brain does. So many times, though, we ignore that and push that away. So ask yourself, if I imagine myself on path A, how does that feel? If I imagine myself opening a second location, how does that feel? Does it feel exciting? Does it feel aligned? If your stomach starts to tighten, that's information. If your shoulders drop and you breathe easier, that's also information. And if there's one thing I could scream out into the World Wide Web is that intuition is not woo-woo. It's wisdom. It is true wisdom that we are built and born with. Your intuition is not irrational. It is the CEO of your internal life. Listen to it. And you also have to choose alignment over ego, because profit does not equal peace. I am someone who has walked that journey, because sometimes more profit equals more staff, equals more headache, and equals more pain, right? And so if you are looking at what looks best on paper, that's ego, okay? But alignment is what you really want out of life. So I'll give you a great example. My husband and I are trying to decide if we want to sell our house. So ego on paper, we would like to have a new house with a pool and like all the things, right? But alignment, we're trying to decide, does paying off our mortgage feel more aligned with where we want to go in life? Or does having this other house feel more aligned? And I don't know that we've like really gotten to that answer yet, but we're still like digging into that and trying to figure that out, right? So alignment is what feels the most you in that season of life that you're in. So instead of asking yourself what's going to impress people, that's the red flag. Okay. Which path feels more peaceful? That's alignment. So you've got to choose that alignment over ego. And if you want to build a 7-figure business in your life based on profit alone, you're probably going to be living in the ego world. And that is fragile, and it is painful, and it is very, very hard. But if you are looking to build a 7-figure business based on alignment and where you want to go and the slow mornings and the lifestyle you want to have, that is possible. But we've got to choose that alignment on the front end, or at least now, and make that Y in the road and choose that path now so that you know where you want to go and how you want to get there. Because your joy is not strategy. Your joy is an actual necessity in your life. It's not a luxury, right? Okay, your joy is something that you need more than anything else that matters at the end of the day. So it's bigger than strategy. It's bigger than planning. It's bigger than a luxury. It is the core of who you are. And compromising that for ego or what you should be doing or what looks good on paper is simply just not worth it. And you've got to pay attention to what drains you versus what excites you, right? So if the path instantly stresses you out, like you think about it and you're like, oh my gosh, I just don't know if I can do this. That's not fear. That's misalignment. That is not where you're headed, right? If it feels that hard, it's not for you. It wasn't meant for you. But if it lights you up and that seems so exciting, like that's a little breadcrumb, that your future self is leading you down a road. They're leaving you little breadcrumbs, right? Because your energy, the way you feel on the inside about something, it doesn't lie. Okay. And I'm not saying everything we should do in life should be based on our feelings, but I feel like our energy and our intuition and our gut are there for a reason. And you don't need clarity on your entire future. Like you only need clarity on what that next aligned step is. And sometimes I think that analysis paralysis comes in and we are so worried about what it all is going to look like that we get overwhelmed and do nothing. But what if you just focused on that next aligned step? Right? Because if you're listening to your intuition and you're choosing alignment over ego, paying attention to what drains you and excites you, those things are going to give you the information and the fuel to make the next best aligned decision for your life. And so choosing that next path is not going to be hard. It's not going to feel frustrating. It's going to feel so right and so aligned and so at ease with where it is you're going, not where you've been, but where you're going, that it seems effortless to get there. And so here's the question you have to ask yourself at the end of the day is, am I choosing this because I feel I should, or because it lights me up, right? Because you will never build a peaceful and profitable business or a life by following paths that feel heavy. But you are allowed to choose a life that gives and brings you joy. That is innate in each one of us. It's our God-given right to find that joy. And you can pick the path that feels like freedom. And if this message hits home for you, it's time to dig deeper. It's time to share it with a friend. Subscribe to our newsletter, book a one-on-one call, because you do not have to walk through this life alone. You do not have to go from scaling your life and scaling your business and it all be draining and frustrating. There is a lighter, more aligned, more precious, priceless way to go about building the life of your dreams. And I'm here to do it with you. Until next time.